Right, so gonna go sort of down a couple of lines. So these are sort of flies I'd fish on maybe like a die 5 or 3, 7. So basically one's going to be a booby and a sparkler, and then I better tie my snake, and then we'll see where we are looking for time. I might tie a little pulling hopper as well. So this is going to be a fly that I sort of started using a couple of years ago. It's a Smelly Booby, it's called. It's a really, really bright fly. It's tied with, originally it was tied with vampire frits in hot coral and pink, but the sort of modern day version's tied with block jelly. So this is block jelly, so this is hot coral on the, which will be the front, and then magma on the back. So it's actually that bright, this fly. When you're fishing it back, it actually glows in the water. It has like a halo around it. It looks absolutely amazing when you're fishing it. It really works well as well on a washing line. I found it works really well at Eyebrook in the shallow water on a washing line. It seems to draw fish in. I've also found it's my best fly for foul hooking fish. It's that bright. Obviously the fish flash at it. And one day I had 3 fish all caught in the side that had obviously flashed at it because it was so bright. They were annoyed by its presence, and I caught them. So again, the orange thread. So just whip that on, break it off. So down to kind of just past where the barb would be, towards the sort of bend of the hook. So the tail is glow bright number 4. So just pull the length of that off, and then just going to sort of double it over lots of times to give myself a nice tuft of material.
Are you selling both barbed and barbless flies in your shop?
We're looking at starting selling a more of a range of barbless this coming year. We were going to this year because we had a lot of barbless competitions coming up, but then they sort of folded because the average everyday angler tends to take a couple of fish and doesn't really want barb flies, and they're quite happy nipping them off. We tend to find the people who fish comps and stuff like that want proper barbless. So that's, I'm not quite sure how many sort of fibres that is, probably about 10, maybe a dozen. So just catch that in. 1, 2, 3. What I'll do is I'll just trim these sort of roughly the length of the body, and then just touch and turn them all the way sort of up to the eye, and then back down again. So this is sort of a fly I'd fish in the competition gauge. I've not got my gauge with me, I normally do. I've got my desk, so I'll just trim it kind of just a little bit past the back of the hook, which is going to be there. Then what I'll do is just take the thread away a little bit, just brush the fibres out so they're all going to be basically a bit more bushy. So as I said, the back of this fly is this block jelly in the magma. So like I've done with the other frits, just expose that core there, makes it a little bit easier to tie in. One, there we go, that's nicely tied in. Go back up to kind of just shy of halfway. This one's more, it's kind of 3 or 4 turns of this, and then as many as you can get on the front. Again, trying to keep the fibres all going the same way.
Whose frits is it?
This is from F&F. So just sweep all the fibres out of the way as I'm rolling it round. And then probably one more just to wet them, just keep them out of the way. Bring the thread around to there. Work through the frits. trim off, and then just again pull away any fibres away from that core. Just 3 turns there. Some of the fibres have been caught on the way forward, but we'll just trim them away. So
when you put in the frits on, you basically lining up the thread with the exactly where you're going to tie in here, because you bring it through the...
Yeah, where I'm gonna sort of stop for one sort of frit. You can, if obviously if it's getting a bit tight, just take a wrap off in the thread or go forward a couple. And then go through it, trying not to, sort of like as if you were going to go through a hackle, trying not to trap any of the fibres. Just one turn, just to hold it where it is, and then hold the thread, because if you slip it'll unravel.
You get a better grip then. I mean, I tend to just go whack straight through it. And
you can get less sort of more wraps. You're tying straight onto the core, so it's a bit more secure, and also you're not building up any bulk. So it means you can, when you do it that way, especially at the head, it means you can go closer to the head, so you've not got a really big sort of thread head. Again, expose the core, loose turn, try and, these fibres are being a bit unruly, but catch them in, and then up. Stop sort of 3 or 4 mil from the eye, because I'm going to put some booby eyes on, and then sort of wrap this round as we go.
Do you tend to put your booby eyes on last, or...?
Yeah.
So what colour's that, Tom?
This is it's either fire coral or hot coral. They only do one, so it's, I can't remember what it's called. I think it's fire coral. So just trim that off again. Pull away all the fibres. So you can see you've got your core, they're exposed there. 3. Trim all this off, and then just get some moisture, push all these fibres back, and then I'm just going to tidy this area up so I've got a nice base to whip my booby eyes on. There we go. So I always tend to go right close to the eye, so when I'm doing my figure eights I'm not going to risk running through the materials. So on this pattern it's got orange booby eyes. So these have been spun upon a Dremel. Again, cut them out. I think these are the 5.5 with the 6mm eyes. So you can, I don't know the best way, I'll stick them on here, hang on. So it's a little pill shape that I've done with the Dremel. Just a little concave stone. If no one's ever seen it, if you go on YouTube, Dave McPhail does a thing on how to do it, or Carl Nixon actually does a really good video on it.
Yeah, it's a 932.
Yeah, I can never remember the name of the bit. And I've never
932 on the Dremel.
Yeah, I never want to bring my Dremel because it makes a load of noise. So with this, a lot of people, they go directly in the middle and then figure out. What I tend to do is lay them on, and then I leave myself not quite in the middle. I go slightly more. So I'll do it so you can see. Basically, it'll be easier. All the way. So you can see there, a bit more. They're not perfectly in uniform. This one here is a little bit bigger. The reason I do that is now when I turn them and start doing my figure of eight, I can even them up by trapping down more of the foam when I'm tying them in, which then makes them more secure, and also you're making them even. Problem is, if you go make it perfectly even and then you find that they're still slipping, you want to put more thread wraps on, you start tying in the foam and they become uneven. So I always tend to make them a little bit sort of more, one bigger than the other. Oh, I've done it the wrong way actually. I wanted the other one a bit bigger. So that one a little bit bigger to that side, and then as I come through, I trap down a bit of the foam there, and then a bit of the foam there, and then I just figure of 8 through the booby eyes, nice tight wraps as I go. Right, and then go in front, pull some thread off, and then whip finish. Pull the booby eyes out of the way, get a few on there, don't want them undone, and then that's it done. So that's the Smelly Booby. So it's a really bright fly, works really well on the washing line, pulled, tends to really track the fish in. Bet you've never had anyone come and show you how to tie a blonde booby before. The height of fly fishing sophistication.
A bit more finesse than some of the way I tie them.
So I tend to put loads of varnish on, cover up the eye. I mean, what I'm doing, if I normally my fly tying desk, as you can probably tell, I've made a bit of a mess here. Looks like a bomb's gone off. So I normally just find the tip of a feather that I've got lying around and then clean the eye out. Steve Cullen always says, "Oh, I can't tie a nice fly on a messy desk." I beg to differ. So there's that. Pass that round.